Welcome to Witches in Yoga Pants, your cozy corner of the cosmos where modern magic meets everyday life. We're here to explore magic, mindfulness, and personal growth with a grounded, no-fluff vibe. Whether you're into moon rituals, tarot spreads, or just trying to survive Mercury retrograde, you are in the right place. So get ready to disrupt some old patterns, explore what it means to reclaim your power, and remember who you really are. So pull up your yoga mat, light a candle, and let's get into it. Welcome back to Witches in Yoga Pants. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that so many of us crave, chase, or even sometimes stumble into without quite knowing how we got there, and that is the flow state. That magical, slippery, beautiful place where time melts, effort dissolves, and you feel fully immersed in whatever you're doing. Creativity moves through you, intuition is turned all the way up, and that inner critic goes quiet, and you're just there. Sounds dreamy, right? Here's the thing. Flow state isn't just for athletes, artists, or monks on the mountain. It's available to all of us, and I believe it's one of the most sacred spaces we can learn to access in our modern, overstimulated, hustle-soaked world. So let's talk about it. Let's unpack what flow really is, why it matters, and how we can cultivate it. Flow state is that immersive state of consciousness where you're fully engaged in the task. There's a sense of timelessness, effortlessness, and complete presence. Your brain is working optimally, but your mind is out of the way. You're not overthinking, you're just doing. The term flow was coined in the 1970s. It was described as a state where your skills perfectly meet the challenge in front of you. Not too easy, not too hard, just enough to stretch you into presence. But I like to think of flow as something a little more mystical than that. It's that moment when you are no longer the doer, but you've become the vessel. It's divine collaboration between your essence and something greater. Have you ever written something and look back on it and go, where did that even come from? Have you ever been dancing, painting, cooking, or even cleaning and just lost track of time because you were so fully in it? That is flow, and it's sacred. Let me be real with you. Flow has never been something that I can force. Because of my design as a projector, I don't have consistent energy. And when my energy is low, trying to push myself into flow just doesn't work. What I have discovered is that flow shows up when my energy is naturally full and when I'm working on something that feels meaningful to me. That sense of purpose lights the spark. So when that energy shows up, I've learned to ride the wave. If I feel the pull to write or record or edit a podcast episode, I do it right then because I know that that energy won't necessarily be there tomorrow or on some scheduled creative day. That is how I access my flow. I don't try to plan it, but I trust my energy when it arrives and I give myself permission to follow it. For me, flow isn't about discipline or pushing through. It's about listening to my body, honoring my rhythm, and catching that current the moment it appears before it moves on. If you know your human design chart, you've probably heard me talk about type alignment. That directly is tied to flow. So if you're a projector like me, your flow comes when you wait for the right invitation and your energy reserves are full. You don't achieve it from pushing. Generators and manifesting generators often find flow in response. They're following that sacral yes, and they're diving fully into whatever it is that lights them up. Manifestors need space to initiate when the urge arises and to honor their rest cycles. Reflectors find flow through their environment. When they're in the right place in the right time with the right people, they can enter their flow state. The more you know about your design, the more you stop fighting your natural rhythm, and flow becomes your default state, not your reward. As always, if you haven't discovered your design yet, you can get your free chart at the link below. So let's talk about this. Why is flow state so hard to access sometimes? Here's what I've noticed most often in myself and in my clients. We've become addicted to urgency. Flow needs space, but we're constantly bombarded with do it now, respond, hustle. The truth is, flow doesn't rush. It moves in its own time, and we only block it when we try to force it. We also over-identify with productivity, and flow does not always look productive. Sometimes it's staring at the sky, it's dreaming, wandering, or simply resting. And yet we've been taught to judge those moments and to see them as wasted time, when in reality, they are the very soil from which flow grows. And finally, we wait for perfect conditions. Flow doesn't need perfect, it needs presence and permission. And it asks us to show up exactly where we are and allow the energy to move through us, even if the circumstances aren't ideal. So what do? Here are some gentle, grounded ways to invite more flow into your life. Create sacred containers. Flow thrives in intentional spaces. Ritual helps signal the body and the spirit that the time is yours. Light a candle, play music that inspires you. Choose a small object like a crystal or a feather, anything that feels sacred, to anchor you into your practice. These small gestures create a container for your energy, setting the tone for focus, creativity, and openness. Flow responds to intention. When you honor the container, you honor the movement that wants to arise. Don't be afraid to start before you're ready. Perfection and hesitation are the greatest enemies of flow. The first step doesn't need to be polished or complete. Begin messy, begin imperfect, begin exactly where you are, and trust that the energy itself will carry you forward. Often, movement, ideas, or insight arrive once you let go of planning and simply enter the rhythm of doing, of being, of creating. It may be helpful to give yourself limits. Boundaries can unexpectedly open freedom. When the canvas feels too vast or when the options are endless, flow can get lost. Set a timer, choose a specific material, or create within a constraint. These intentional limits focus your energy, sharpen your attention, and allow the creative river to move with clarity. Within boundaries, flow can expand in ways it never would in total chaos. Practice intuitive listening. Flow is often quiet and subtle. Start your day with silence, journaling, or a gentle reflection. Simply ask yourself, what wants to move through me today? And then step back. Listen without judgment. Let your inner voice respond. And the more you cultivate this attentive, receptive state, the more effortless the flow will feel. It's also important to make peace with the pause. Flow is not constant, and that's okay. Periods of stillness or emptiness are not failures. Trust the quiet stretches, honor rest and reflection, and resist the pressure to force inspiration. Sometimes the most potent flow arises after a pause, when energy has had time to realign, refill, and find its own natural rhythm. So remember, flow is not something you master, it's something you remember, and it's something you surrender to. The more you practice making space for it, the more you start to trust that you were never meant to push or force or strive your way through anything in this life. You're meant to co-create with your own energy, with your own rhythm, and with the divine. So, if you've been spinning your wheels, doubting your purpose, or feeling stuck, take a breath. The flow isn't gone. It's just waiting for you to soften, to listen, and to allow. Thanks for being here with me today. If this episode resonated with you, it would mean so much if you leave a review or share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, move gently, trust your rhythm, and let flow find you. Take what you've heard today even further by joining my newsletter community. Each week, you'll receive journal prompts and reflections connected to the episode that are designed to guide you in bringing these conversations off the podcast and into your own journey. Let's keep going deeper together. The link is waiting for you below.